Hello, I'm Nelson Liu and welcome to Western Perspective. Well, he's been there with you rain, hail and shine for the past 40 years. You may have heard of him before, but little do you know that Neil Bennett has just celebrated 40 years as a weatherman at the Bureau of Meteorology, telling you all about the rain, sunshine, storms and heat waves like you've never known them before. Tonight we celebrate his achievement with this feature interview.
Neil Bennett, thanks for your time.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, so 40 years as a meteorologist. I might not remember all the moments you have, but how did you came across this job?
Well, it started when I left school. I was an 18-year-old student, and instead of going to university like a lot of my peers, I saw an advert for the job with the UK Met Office and thought that that was quite interesting. Back in that particular time, the UK Met Office supplied all of the television weather forecasters for the BBC. And that's really what piqued my interest. I was also doing geography at school and maths and physics as well. And I thought that the geography would be the way in, but it turned out that the maths and physics was far more important. So we had a bit of a visit to the local Met Office, and I saw the sort of work that they were doing. And coming from a military background, as my father was in the Air Force, it seemed to be a natural extension. So I sort of just fell into it really through looking at the television and seeing the advert, and haven't looked back since.
40 years as a weatherman, how does it make you feel?
Pretty old. Especially when I'm looking at the colleagues I'm working with now, many of whom weren't even born when I first started working. And when I start to talk about the old days, it takes me back to when I first started, because the people I was working with when I first started were approaching their retirement years, and I used to think that they were silly old buggers, and I'm sure some of them out there think that I'm a silly old bugger as well. But it's sobering when you look back that 40 years has gone by in what seems like the blink of an eye. Been many changes, but I think it's safe to say it's a job that I've enjoyed every single day I come to work, and that's a real blessing.
What makes you interested in weather?
Well, really, I think for many of us, it's the thrill of trying to predict the unknown. You're always looking forward into the future. You very rarely go back into the past. You will do for some of the climate records and historical stuff, but you're just trying to pit your wits against the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is pretty unforgiving, but it is very gratifying at the end of a long shift, particularly if the weather's been a bit bad and things are going a bit hectic, that you can sit back and think, well, we did a good job today. We got the forecast right, and then you know that people are taking heed of the information that you've given them. It's there on the television news. People talk about it all the time, and it's very gratifying to be part of that and know that you're part of the daily conversation.
How long did you study before getting this job?
Well, I started at school really from the age of 16, studying what was then A-levels for the UK Met Office. Once I got the job, though, I continued to study. And then found myself as a forecaster working for the UK Met Office for a period of time. Moved to Australia and then had to restudy. So I went to university at Macquarie University in New South Wales and studied maths and statistics for a couple of years, and then did a full year's in-house study with the Bureau, getting a diploma of meteorology from there. So really it's been an ongoing thing, and even at work you're continually being challenged. There's new techniques, there's new systems that you've got to learn. So you can never sit still on your laurels, so you're always learning, and that again is another great part of the job.
Any career highlights?
I think for me there's been a few. I do recall very vividly a particular day in the UK where I had to go out and do some maintenance on a piece of equipment that was out on the airfield. It had been snowing heavily, and as I walked out there I fell into a rather large hole which was covered by the snow, and was a little bit panicky because it was quite late in the day. In terms of weather, the March thunderstorm here in Perth is a real standout. There were Sydney thunderstorms as well, and I was also involved when the tropical cyclone Yasi crossed the Queensland coast. So they were some major highlights. Other things that really stand out for me were the interviews that I undertook when MH370 went missing, and also the ability to do a little bit of a spot on ABC TV. It's really opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm very grateful for that.
What's the worst yet the most funny experience you have? You had to put them both together.
I think the early morning starts can be quite amusing, in a bit of a fog of what the hell am I doing at 3 o'clock in the morning, driving to work and then forgetting keys. It's not particularly amusing, but when you look back you think, well, I've left the keys at home, I'm going to have to turn around and go and get them again, and then there's a bit of a rush when you do that. Another time as well was working in Germany at the time, and I wasn't able to actually get into the car. The door frame of the car had frozen to the car. It was that cold. I could get the key into the lock, but I couldn't open the door. We had a phenomenon known as freezing rain, so those sorts of things. But generally it's just the camaraderie and working with the people, and then interacting with the general public out at field days as well, talking to people like that. So yeah, the good times far outweigh the bad.
Speaking of good times, have you enjoyed working here, and what makes you enjoy working here?
Well, I did say to a colleague of mine the other day that if I'd gone 40 years through this and not enjoyed it, then I was a fool. I do enjoy it. I love coming into work, more so to interact with my colleagues, and then on occasions interacting with the media such as this, out and about talking to people. I really enjoy explaining weather to people. I think that's a great part of my job. Really enjoy that. But it is just the fact that every single day, even though it may seem that the weather is the same day in, day out during the summer in Perth, there are subtle little variations. So every day is different, and every year is different as well. There are new things coming along all the time. There are new challenges, and it's never boring. There's always something going on.
How many more years are you going to go on?
My recently retired manager has done 48 years. I don't think I'll get that far.
Oh, look, come on, you're not going to retire now, are you?
No, there's no way I'm going to 50. My children are grown up. My wife and I are now looking forward to a period of time in the near future. Don't know exactly when, but we will be doing a lot of travelling. So I think there's a few years left in me yet, but there's no way I'm getting to 50.
Thank you so much for talking to us today, and congratulations again, and we look forward to see you whether it's a good day or a bad day.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
And that's all for tonight. We'll be back again next week, but for now, it's back to you.
Thank you, Nelson. This week's main news again. As demonstrations in Hong Kong reach their 13th week, a fake support letter pretending to be WA police has been circulating this week. Spread overnight from Chinese social media pages, official states this letter is not from the WA Police Force.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest on our website and Facebook page.
Until next Sunday after 8, thanks for watching, thanks for calling in. Good evening.
Good night.